بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم all together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي ابن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. صلى على محمد وعلى Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great opportunity, another night in this important month of Muharram, in the majlis of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah inshallah reward you all for your presence in this majlis inshallah, and make it dhakhiyah and reward for dunya wal akhirah with the barakat of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. As you're aware, you're following the topic of analyzing the society at the time of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam, and trying to figure out the factors and reasons that society at that time they failed and they could not reach their destination, they could not support the Imam of their time for the purpose of building a better future for ourselves, for the sake of seeing if any of those factors we have in our communities to make sure we build a better future. Let me give you a good example. If in a society, in a house, in a city, if it is contaminated with a virus, imagine a deadly virus, they usually law enforcement come and evacuate the whole environment, the whole city. And they will not let anyone come back until they test everything and make sure, over and over test it, to make sure everything is right and to make sure everything is safe to let people come back. So when we see that over the history of Shia and Ahlul Bayt, the Shia community had this problem and had some issues and factors that due to those factors they failed many times and they could not support the Imam of their time. We mentioned about some of the factors such as being too attached to dunya or hubb ad-dunya, the love of this world that would make people blind, would cover the wisdom of people. Those who are too attached to this dunya, those that the decision between akhirah and dunya, they pick always their dunya. This world would put a layer, would put hijab in front of their mind and wisdom and would not let them think properly. And if you remember, we mentioned that Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam himself, he did not fight with Yazid as a single entity and person. No. He fought with the whole culture of Yazid, mindset of Bani Umayyah. That is why the revolution of Ashura, the message of Ashura today is still alive, because the intention is a global intention. Because Imam Hussein's reason behind rising and uprising in front of Yazid is way bigger than a local dispute between him and Bani Umayyah. That is why it's still alive. That is why people in the whole world They follow Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam because of this global intention of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam that he had. When they ask himself, Imam Hussain, the reason behind in his lectures, in his sermons, many times he mentioned something like, Allahumma innaka ta'lamu innahu lam yakun ma kana minna munafasatan fi sultan. Ya Allah, you know that the reason that we are doing this, the reason we are against these people is not because of a dispute over power. This is not the reason that we're standing in front of Yazid. If it was not for the sake of this, if it was a local problem, the message of Imam Hussain with his name, na'udhu billah, would be buried in Karbala at that time. Why? We have a lot of examples. How many kings, how many, I don't know, people in the world, commanders, they had fight and issue among each other, right? And they had a fight, they killed many people, and their name is gone. Over. When you look at this, many of the kings before, they had to engrave their names somewhere on a stone, on some tablet, something, so people would not forget about them. So I am a king so-and-so, son of so-and-so, and I did this and that. Imam Hussain did not have any of this. He did not charge, did not ask anyone to engrave his name and his story anywhere. Matter of fact, the main reporter of Ashura is someone from the army of Yazid. Yes, he engraved his name on the hearts of the believers. That's why today, this century, we're sitting here and we are reviewing the name of Imam Hussain and his stories. As Quran says, Surah An'am, ayah 162, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Everything, my salat, my offerings, my, death, my life, everything is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The intention, when it's pure intention. And here, let's come back to our life. Whatever we do in this world and in this dunya, this is a very huge, this is a doctrine of if you want to make something eternal. Whatever we do in this dunya, it's perishable, it's going to be gone. The only way that it can stay here is that we made it sincerely or make it sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If whatever we're doing, we have people sitting here, different titles, different names, different jobs, whatever you do, if you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will stay here in this dunya forever, and akhirah we will see the reward. Many people wrote a lot of books and things, and we might have them or not. One person like Sheikh Abbas al-Ghumay, he put together a book, what? Mafatihul Janan. In a house of every single Shia, we see one copy of that. Whoever is reciting any of the dua, probably some portion of the tawab would go to the account of Sheikh Abbas al-Ghumay. Sincerely for the sake of Allah, doing it, Allah would raise it, Allah would make it bigger than what it is and what it's supposed to be. So therefore, the reason that Imam Hussain ﷺ is go to beliefs, to strengthen our beliefs, is not to fight with Yazid. If it was a local problem, who would bring his family with himself? Who would bring his family if it's, a fight between these two men? And nowadays, still, the reason I'm saying still, some people, they're saying, no, there was a problem between him and his relatives, that's why this happened, and they had dispute and the things happened. 124,000 prophets were sacrificed for the same reason. The best of Allah's servant for the same reason. And Imam Hussain himself, he mentioned, the reason I came out is not to bring corruption and issue and oppression. لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي. The reason I came out is to reform the deen and the religion of my Jad, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But that's a good question. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys answered this for yourself, because now a lot of doubts, a lot of shubahat comes to people that what is the main reason that Imam Hussain ﷺ, he stood in front of someone like Yazid? What would the answer that we can give? Because a lot of questions, like I said, and doubt comes. When you look, you see, again, we're getting lessons from that time for our current time as well. Someone like Yazid, at that time, is the time of the scandals in Islam. When the representative from other countries are coming, they see that, the Caliph of Islam and Muslims are someone who is drinking, obviously, or doing something haram based on their own beliefs. They see that, mashallah, he's doing whatever he can do, and they're the same, and they're asking themselves, is this Islam? Is this what they have been through because of this? When Marwan, he advised Imam Hussain والسلام, to give allegiance to Yazid, Imam said this, وَعَلَى الْإِسْلَامَ السَّلَامِ إِذْ قَدْ بُلِيَتِ الْأُمَّةِ بِرَاعٍ مِثْلِ يَزِيد. If someone like me give bay'ah to Yazid, there's no Islam then. Islam is gone. So if you're going to ask why Imam Hussain والسلام, he stood in front of Yazid, we have to ask why Rasulullah, he stood in front of the kuffar of Quraysh. The same question. We have to ask why Amir al-Mu'mineen والسلام, he fought in the battle of Badr and Uhud as well. We have to ask why Ibrahim, he broke the idols. We have to ask why Musa stood in front of Pharaoh. The same questions. Because of someone who is not supposed to be leader, and he's destroying the whole direction of guidance of people and oppressing them as well. But Imam Hussain, you didn't have army. Why you're standing for? You know that you don't have enough army. You cannot stand in front of Yazid. You know that there is, finally they want to kill you. Then why you're standing? The same question. Did Rasulullah has a huge army when he started, his invitation and he started announcing Islam? I don't think so. Did Musa, when he stood in front of Yazid, did he have anyone else beside his brother next to him, Harun? Did Ibrahim had a huge army with himself when he went to break the idols? No. The same reason Imam Hussain. Here's, we're talking about two different mindsets, two different worldview. The reason I'm asking, I was watching one of the video clips about one of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah brothers, and he was saying this, and he's right. He said many of people at the time of Imam Hussain, he wanted to leave Mecca. They came and started advising Hussain, don't go please. You know that this Kufi, they did not, they were not loyal to your father and to your brother. Why you're going there? Abdullah bin Umar, many other people, they came and they tried to convince Imam Hussain not to go. But look at the mindset. It's a different mindset that we have to grab that mindset and that worldview and bring it to our own life as well. When you look at this, you see that Imam Hussain, the same reason that I said that if probably someone, if Ibrahim was telling someone that I'm going to go break the idols, probably many people would say, this is a suicide, do not do it, it will kill you. If Musa were telling people, me and my brother, two of us, we're going to go stay in front of who? Pharaoh, the one who has so power that he claims is God, probably tell him, don't go there, that's wrong, don't go there, it will kill you. These people are telling Imam Hussain, don't stay in front of Yazid. Look at this history. Imam Hussain is a representative of the whole prophets coming to this time, right? To the time of himself. And they are telling him, don't go because they want to kill you. Their analogy and reason is what? Don't go because Kufi, they do not, they're not loyal, they want to kill you. For the sake of saving your own life. And the factor is very interesting that Imam Hussain, he didn't disagree with them. He said, yeah, you're right, they were not. But the mindset is different. Imam says, I'm not going to leave deen because of my own life. Look at this. Doing it sincerely for the sake of Allah. That is the reason that Imam Hussain والسلام, he stands in front of Yazid. So whoever is asking you about this question, the same answer that why all Prophet they stood in front of their kuffar at that time. So one reason is the piety of Imam. We have to see ourselves. How many of the things we do every day, we do it sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you mean say? You mean to go to masjid every day? No. Whatever we do every day, from the activities, daily activities that we have, how many of us would do them by having the niyyah and intention to do it for the sake of Allah? Like what, Sayyid? Like how many of us were raising our children for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Like having that intention. How many of us we try to be patient for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to our children? How many of us, when we go to work, we have this intention, Ya Allah, every morning, Ya Allah, I'm going to work to make some halal risk for my family. So our Ustad Rahmatullah, I remember he was saying that even if you want to drink a glass of water, say, Ya Allah, I'm going to drink it so I'll get rid of my thirst, so I can work, so I can be alive. You can have fun and have it for the intention of Allah, with the intention, to do it for the sake of Allah as well. To paint everything with the color of Allah and doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the main reasons that the uprising of Imam Hussain is about this. The piety of Imam Hussain, the taqwa and virtue of Imam Hussain that is, driving him towards this. The second is that the invitation of Kufa. The first one, the taqwa of Imam Hussain, is not the main reason. If it was, then he could go somewhere else instead of Kufa. The second, Kufa is inviting Imam Hussain, make it wajib for Imam Hussain to go there. Even if Imam Hussain knows that they're not going to have this position and this job. The reason I'm having this introduction, because I'm going to go to another factor at the time of Imam Hussain in the society. Another factor that was wrong. And matter of fact, this is the most important, these three processes. Number one, to analyze the problem. What is going on? What is wrong? Second, finding the reason where this issue is coming from. Between couples, when they have problem and issue, number one, sit down and try to analyze what is the problem. Parenting, children and parents, number one, sit down and analyze what is the problem. Many people, they have issue, they don't know what is the problem. They keep fighting over and over, but they don't know where they're getting hurt from. Second, like I said, first analyze it. Second, to see where this problem is coming from. If I always give this example. If I every day go take some vitamin and medicine and everything, I might still have the virus and the issue, because that brother or that sister that I agreed with him, every day they might have the virus that, transferring to me. I might have to see where it's coming from, where the issue is coming from. If my child has some issue, they don't pray, they don't practice or something, or anyone else, what is the problem? What is the issue behind this? Where is it coming from? And number three is what? To find a solution for it. To find treatment for it. To be able to treat it. Three processes, remember, because we need this to go through it. The second important factor at the time of Imam Hussain that we're dealing with it in our societies a lot is weakness in Iman. They were praying, they were fasting, they were happy that they joined Jama'ah prayer, congregational prayer. They buried their deceased one based on the Shara and Sharia of Islam. But the main problem that they're not strong enough in their religion and their beliefs. They're happy that they're halfway through Islam and Deen. Amir al-Mu'minin is sitting with his great companion Malik Ashtar, and he's saying, Malik, what do you think is the reason that you're not loyal to us? Imam knows, it's just a discussion, conversation. What is the reason that they're not loyal? You know what he says? He says, because of the coins of Muawiyah. Because they love justice and injustice together. Because they love to say their prayers, Jama'ah prayer, at the time of Dhuhr prayer, behind you, Ya Ali, because your Salat is more spiritual. But they like to go with the food to have lunch with Muawiyah, because that is better. The combination here, what we see here is what? To go halfway through Islam, weakness in Iman. Some people are like this. Some people are happy to say, you know what? Don't make it difficult for us. First of all, we're living here, and then we're not, I hear this over and over from people. We're not that religious, say it. I'm like, I don't understand what you mean we're not that religious. So you mean you're not that religious to pray? You're not that religious to have hijab? You're not that religious to fast? You're not that religious to... What do you mean? Like there are some rules in Islam that is for religious people, and some rules that those that are comfortable not pray, and they say, you know what? I have a very, very pure heart. No, sweetheart. It doesn't work that way. Islam is a whole package. It's a whole puzzle. It is impossible. If the puzzle has 99 pieces, 100 pieces, you cannot put 99 pieces together and leave one piece away from the puzzle and says the puzzle is complete. No, it's incomplete actually. It's not completed. You cannot follow certain, regulations and rules in Islam and leave the rest and be happy. Alhamdulillah, see, I pray. That's what happened to people of Kufa. They were happy because the level of Iman was stable, and they thought, that's it. That's it, we just have to pray. For years and years and years, I'm fine because I just pray. The same as we have a student in the 3rd grade for 4 years, and he says, Alhamdulillah, you see, I'm getting very good grades in 3rd grade. What do you mean? You're actually failing here. You're supposed to go to the next grade and go to the next one. Your limit, your sky is your limit. You're supposed to go higher and higher. Many of us in the path of Imam, we're like that 4th grader. Don't touch me, I'm good. One of the main reasons that Ashura happened because of the mindset of these people. Maybe worse than people that joined Karbala to kill Imam Hussain are those who did not come to help Imam Hussain, or those who were late after Imam Hussein's shahadat of Imam Hussain. They tried to help by Tawabin and Mukhtar and whatever, right? Let's not relate. Our current time, we cannot afford it anymore. We cannot, the Shia, Islam, matter of fact, cannot afford this anymore. That the history happens again. 11 of our Imams, the same thing because of the Ummah happened to them over and over and over. And none of them would force, you know the process of, they never forced their Ummah to follow them. They're waiting for the Ummah to wake up. Have you seen that? And Imam said he could force his companion to be with him in Karbala. We know that, right? You could force people. The same that Yazid did. The same that Bani Umayyah Muawiyah did. Either they bribed them, they give them money, or they force them, or they assassinated them. He says, no, you should come or we'll kill you. The history of Ahlul Bayt, they don't do that. They wait for their society, for the companion, for the beloved, for the lovers to wake up, and they know what they're supposed to do. I think that's the reason we are in ghaibah and occultation right now. They're waiting for the ummah to raise, to wake up, to understand what is wrong. So the problem of that time, weakness in Iman. And let's come to our current time. I think I explained enough what is going on. Let me tell you something interesting. The whole issue, this might be the first time you're hearing this, the whole issue of Bani Umayyah with Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam, the whole problem that they have with Amir al-Mu'mineen, with Imam Hussain and the rest, here with Imam Hussain, the whole problem that they have with Imam Hussain is over one thing. It's over one privilege that Imam Hussain has, and they're telling Hussain to forget about that privilege and to give us that privilege. I'm saying it slower so you can think about what it is, what it can be. It's over one thing that Hussain, if you forget about that one thing, not only we will not kill you and your family, we probably give you a lot of gifts and position as well. Think about it. It's all over one thing that Imam Hussain, he is holding into it. The same thing that 124,000 prophets, they did the same. And Yazid and Muawiyah, all the way start from the time of Muawiyah, go all the way to Yazid in Karbala. They're asking, still in Karbala, they're asking Imam Hussain to do one thing and to give one thing. And it's about our current time as well. It's about Hussain, forget about your beliefs and your ideology. Forget about that. Hussain assimilated the wrongdoing of the bigger culture and main dominant culture. If you forget about your ideology here, we agree that, okay, Hussain, you're saying that Yazid is an oppressor, is just and unjust person, he's not right, he should not be there. We agree with you, okay, just forget about your beliefs and your ideas and be quiet. Musa, what do you want? You're raised in the palace of Pharaoh. Just don't say anything. Sell your ideologies and your beliefs. Don't say anything. Follow the rest of all people. Whatever the main media and the stream media, they're telling you, you follow the same thing as well. They wouldn't kill Imam Hussain if he would have done that. No. And that's the main characteristics of the strong believers. They would not sell their beliefs and ideology because that is their identity. What do you mean I sell my identity? I'm no one. Every single of you guys sitting here, you have an identity. Matter of fact, the biggest problem of our youth in non-Muslim countries and sometimes even Muslim countries is over one thing, being confused over their identity. They don't have that identity as Muslim. They don't know what that means being a Muslim. They don't know about Islam. Because of what? Because the only thing they know about Salat is that their father says that's a very nice thing to say. The only thing they heard about fasting and Sawm is that if you don't do it, Allah is going to put you in hellfire. The main thing that it's driving them to come to the center is that if you don't come, I'm not going to give you money. How many times I, as a father, me as a mother, sit down with my children, and first of all, I knew myself, and I studied, and I strengthened my beliefs as well, and I sat down with them, and I explained it to them, you know, sweetheart, the reason we're saying our prayers is because of 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason that we have hijab is 1, 2, 3, 4. But say it how? Because you don't know yourself. If you don't know math, how you're supposed to assist your child to get a better score? That's why our children, and sometimes, I'm not just saying our children, even adults, they have identity crisis. We have, this term in psychology, identity crisis. Teenagers usually go through this. But here, this crisis happened with being a Muslim. They don't understand this. That's why as soon as something happened between selling your identity as Muslim or not, if they're not strong enough, they will sell it. But those who are strong here, they would not sell it to anything. So that's a process. It doesn't only belong to the prophets or so. No. Matter of fact, throughout the whole history of the world, we see many strong people, because of the same reason they didn't sell their identity. Look, many examples. You know that. Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. They forced them to sell their what? Ideology and beliefs. Gandhi, forget about this. British are going to come and give you a lot of good, money and bribe you with a lot of things. Only thing Gandhi should have done is that to accept the bribe and have a luxury life. What are you doing? What kind of life is that, They did not. They have been tortured and imprisoned and exiled from their own cities over one thing. We're not going to sell our identity. That is the main message of Ashura. Stay strong with your beliefs. Be powerful. Whatever Allah. And by the way, you're in the best and the most guaranteed religion in the world. Look at this. You have the best of God that you can imagine. Some people go to certain countries, they worship cows and they worship idols and they worship animals. These are the good ones. I know many worse that I can't even say on the map. What kind of things they worship? Some body parts, human body parts. Okay? The best God, Allah, the most merciful, belong to us, alhamdulillah, and the believers. The best of all prophets that you can find, Khatam al-Anbiya, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Belong to who? Alhamdulillah. The best of all books, holy books, Quran, is in each of our houses, alhamdulillah. The best of all leaders, the best of all imams, successors of the Prophet, belongs to the ummah of Islam and the followers of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt. When you have all the things, the best of all, then what's about losing our identity? What's about not understanding and not following this? What about when a bigger society, something come, and I see something that is being so publicized and so advertised, I lose. And not having that strength in beliefs and in Iman. Remember those three processes? Number one, we said, what is the problem? The problem of not following through Iman, not following through it, having the threat and issue of losing and not supporting the Iman. Second, where it's coming from, what is the main reason? Some of the reason is one of the things that we're talking here right now is about weakness in Iman. We're talking about the roots of things, where they're coming from, the issues. Ubaydullah ibn Abbas, the commander of the army of who? Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wassalam. He left the army of Imam Hassan with 12,000 soldiers because he got 1 million dirham from Muawiyah. He sold his ideology with 1 million dirham. It's a lot of money, by the way. Every person, it has a price. All of us, we have a price. The closer to Allah, the price is very expensive. There's one of the scholars, a long time ago, he had, he collected the homes from people, and just to do muhasabah. Remember last night we said self-reflection? I don't know how many of us would do self-reflection periodically. They were used to doing this physically, periodically, to check themselves. For the sake of muhasabah and self-reflection, he put the money in front of himself, and that was not his money, it's the home's money, right? And he was like, would you still, he did different bags, small bags, would you still, for example, 1 bag of money, the coins, astaghfirullah, na'uzu billah, he was telling himself, no, I'm not going to do it. How about the second, 2 bags if you steal, and how about the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and he started realizing that tone of voice is getting weaker and weaker. First he said, no, I'm not going to do it, astaghfirullah. When he was to the 10th one, he's like, no, probably no. He got to the one and he started thinking about this. He hit his head and says, this is your price. This is your price. Woe to you that this is your price. Muhasabah. How many of us will sit down after salat? Yes, taqibat, let's recite some Arabic, some dua. We got used to just recite Arabic part of the dua and think just that's it. You just recite it and you get closer to Allah. Yes, you do. But that's not the main purpose of just reciting the Arabic part of Quran, not knowing what is going on. Yes, recitation of Quran, the word are nur. Yes, we're talking about the maximum benefit from it. I always say, let's have a challenge. I'm going to say it. All of us, inshallah, from tomorrow, every day after Fajr prayer, 1 page of Quran's translation. How about that? If you want to recite the Arabic part, that's good, inshallah, and do it. 1 page of translation of Quran from the beginning. I think it takes probably maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes maximum, huh? Dua Kumail. Some people just recite the Arabic part. Let's pay a little bit of attention to the du'as are not just some scripts to just get closer to Allah spiritually. They have our guidance, the key, the point that we need to learn and to apply it into our lives to be able to practice them as well. Not selling our beliefs. Let me give you another story. Very touching and sad story. There is a guy in Ashura by the name Zahhak ibn Abdullah Mashriqi. Before Hurr ibn Yazid Riyahi comes to Imam Hussain, he came to Imam Hussain from the army of Yazid. Look at that. By the way, Hurr is not the only one. 30 people from the army of Yazid joined Imam Hussain. You're not sure. Before Hurr, Abdullah, Zahhak ibn Abdullah Mashriqi came to Imam Hussain. Ya Hussain, what is it? I know I made a mistake. What? I know you're haq, you're right. How did you find it? I was with your father in Safin, the battle of Safin. When we were coming back, we were passing Karbala, the same land, towards Kufa. And he stood there, got off his horse, grabbed the soil and the dirt of Karbala, started crying, and he says, this is the place that the ushaq and the lovers of Allah will become shaheed. And I look around, these people, in the army of Yazid, I don't find the lovers of Allah here. They just came for money. He said himself, And I look at your side, we see that love here. So I know you're haq. All right, you found haq, alhamdulillah. Imam says, are you going to join us right now? said, I apologize, I can't. Why? Because I have family waiting for me, and I have my camels and my sheep and so on. I have to take care of them. What? You found haqq. You knew what is right, what is wrong. You found the Imam of time, and you're selling the Imam of time and supporting Imam of time because of your family and your animals and your money and your assets. Na'udhu billah. That even can happen in front of the Imam of time. That is so dangerous. That if we do not work on our beliefs to strengthen the beliefs, these big issues might happen to us and our issues. Isn't it dangerous? Isn't it scary when you hear that? Found haqq, found the right person, the Imam of time, going towards him and living him the time and the moment that it's the best time that you should support your Imam. Don't you think it happened over and over throughout the history of Ahlul Bayt? Don't you think it might happen at the time of Imam of as Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wassalam? Salawat. It can. Let me wrap up with this. Let's go to the third option that we mentioned. There are two main reasons why these things happen. Weakness in Iman. Number one, lack of knowledge. When people don't have enough knowledge, when that person thinks in the 4th grade, that's the only thing he has to learn, she has to learn, they don't have enough knowledge about the next step, they might just stay there. When they think the only responsibilities is the scholars, they have to read book and come and tell us, we don't have to learn about this. That happens. That every single of us, we have to increase our knowledge about Islamic values and Islamic, ma'arif as well. Second, practicing Islam as habits. Practicing Islam, practicing salat and fasting and everything as a habit, just because everyone do it, we have to do it as well. Third, committing sins. One of the worst things that can happen and block everything, one of those hijab that I mentioned, committing sins and being involved with haram environment, that would bring a lot of issues. Ayah Quran said, ثُمَّ كَانَ عَاقِبَةَ الَّذِينَ أَسَاءُوا السُّوءَ إِنْ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. The result of committing su and haram and bad things is that they make fun of the ayat and the signs of Allah, وَكَانَ بِهَا يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. And many other things, like, as I said, unhealthy environment, not having enough training in Islam and all the things that, we have it in front of us. But quickly to go to the solution, as I said, the solution that how we can strengthen the Iman. Number one, alhamdulillah, taking advantage of great opportunities that we have, such as Muharram. What you are doing right now is totally against weaknesses in Iman. Why? Because now you're increasing your knowledge, inshallah. You're attending the majalis, you're learning more. These things that inshallah you're hearing and you're learning would be the beginning of many other questions and many other studies that you will continue to study yourself. Right? That's the beginning of improving your knowledge about this. Second, have some group studies together. I don't know, I always say in our houses, parents, children get together, have some study time, some quality family time together, at least once a week, having fun together, having some educational aspects together, having some conversation and communication together, how's everything, and one part each time, one of the family members be in charge of reciting one ayah Quran, one tradition, analyzing. Many of brothers and sisters, they come to me and says, other places as well, said, after this speech we go, the way we're going home, we discuss what we heard with our children. What did you learn tonight? Discuss about this, talking about this, and reviewing it together. Something like that, In two things. Number one, like I said, increasing the knowledge, adding into the knowledge all the things that we mentioned, practicing wisely, and thinking and pondering about what we're doing. And the last one, which is very important, the connection and the relationship with Ahlul Bayt, love of Ahlul Bayt, so powerful. That connection that with the musibah, with the respect to Imam Hussain and Ahlul Bayt. Hadith says, هَلِ الدِّينِ إِلَّا الْحُبِّ. Quran says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. The love of Ahlul Bayt, making this emotional connection with Ahlul Bayt, and asking them actually to help, asking them to give us strength in this path to be able to be stronger, inshallah. There are many things we have to. When you look at Ashura, Muharram, the Muharram of Imam Hussain, you see the ocean in front of you, that whatever you do, it's like you're just touching the water, you know, of the ocean. It's huge, it's so deep. The further you go in, the more you see that how deep is this ocean of ma'arif and knowledge and teachings of Ahlul Bayt, specifically that we can get and learn, inshallah, from Muharram. I finish here, but let me tell you some stories that some people, because of this tawassul, because of this connection with Ahlul Bayt, they could find the right path. Tonight, in some traditions, is the night of Hurra ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. This great person, that one thing helped him. Again, maybe this is the first time you're hearing this. Standing in the army of Yazid, hearing Imam Hussain, looking probably at Imam Hussain, looking at him and over look, and looking again, and falling in love with Hussain and over and over and over. Figuring out, looking at himself, one forever, is looking at him, Hur, where are you standing? Hur, where are you standing? What side are you standing? Look at where is Hussain standing. You're in the opposite side. And I have to ask myself every day, where are you standing? What are you doing? Are you in the side of Hussain? Are you in the side of Muhammad? Every single day. That one thing happened to Hur. His heart started, beating probably faster, being touched by this. No, Hussain is the whole actress, is the whole destination that I have to find. Good for you, Hur, that you could change your path so amazingly. Now that, okay, Hur decided to go towards, Imam Hussain. But when you want to go, Hur, you are the reason that you didn't let Imam Hussain to, because Imam Hussain told Hur when he blocked the path of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain, okay, just, if you don't want us, let us leave. Let us go back somewhere else, just to show that, okay, we're not going to fight with you guys. Hur didn't let Imam Hussain to go back. So now he's going to go back to Imam Hussain and apologize, ask for tawbah and repentance. I think you agree with me. Now the heart of Hur is all about, how can you say it, Hur? How do you want to do it? How you want to address this to Hussain? How do you want to look at Zainab, Hur? What is going on? How do you want to address this? When he was walking towards the khiyam of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, he saw that Imam Hussain is already standing in front of the khayma, in front of his tent, and he welcomed Hurra ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. Welcome to us, Hur. This is Hussain. This is how Hussain treated his followers. Before you even feel embarrassed in front of Hussain, he welcomes you. Welcome back to me. Ya Hussain, tonight many of us, we would like to promise to come back to you, Ya Hussain. Is it possible, Hussain, that the first thing that we see, you stand in front of the khayma and tent, and you welcome us, welcome to me, welcome back my lover and my follower. Hussain, we are learning a lot about you. Is it possible you take a look at us and our majlis? And by that look, Ya Hussain, you welcome us back to your path. Hussain, let me tell you something. I'm talking on behalf of these people, but from my own heart. Ya Hussain, we cannot do anything more. Yes, it comes to Ramadan, we promise. It comes to Sha'ban, we promise, and we repent. It comes to many other nights, and we repent. Hussain, we cannot. We need your help, Ya Hussain. We need you to take our hands like the way that you did, and you changed the heart of Hur, Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain, we want to come back. When Hur went to Imam Hussain, Imam told him, Hur, you all come back now, come to the tent. Hur did not go to the tent. I think one of the reasons might be, Hussain, I cannot look to the eyes of Zainab. Maybe it was because, Hussain, I can't look at your children. Hussain, let me go before I see any of them. Ya Hussain, let me go and become Shaheed, Hussain. And he left. How is it possible, since you're our guest, you just came back? Hussain, even in the middle of the war, think about his guest that comes towards him. Ya Hussain, let me go. Let me finish something that I was supposed to start. And Hur ibn Yazid, he left. And he became one of the great shaheed of Shuhada of Karbala. Good for you, Hur. Ya Allah, Muharram is a time to rise, is a time to change. Ya Allah, help us like Hur, we can come back and change our life. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ah, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. What is the secret in the name of Hussain? That the whole world being touched by Hussain. All those names I told you, Gandhi, he said himself, I've been inspired by the uprising of Hussain. That's why I'm letting all these Hindi people. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بغيت وبغي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. Before you say salam, let me remind you. You want to say assalam ala awlad al-Hussain. Let me tell you something about one of the children of Hussain, Ruqayya bint al-Hussain. They said she was 3 years old in Karbala. You know, those who have little daughters, they know what I'm talking about. They know how a 3-year-old daughter is attached to her father, and how hard it is for that daughter to say wida and goodbye to her father. God knows with the last moment that Hussain is saying wida and farewell, God knows Ruqayya is holding her father. Oh Father, is that possible that you don't live on? And look at Hussain, how hard it is for this father to leave his daughter Ruqayya at that age. Probably Hussain said, Zainab, take care of my daughter Ruqayya. You know what happened to Ruqayya? Inshallah, what I'm going to say is not true, inshallah. They narrated when the caravan of Hussain, after the Shahadat of Hussain was going, this lady fell down, this daughter fell down from the camel, fell behind. And you know, whoever fell behind, they started whipping them and hitting them. Inshallah, that didn't happen to Ruqayya. Assalamu alayka ya bint Hussain. Let me go to the part of the musibat of Ruqayya. Let me tell you what happened when they put the Usra, Zainab and the family of Hussain in the ruin. You know, they had broken and ruined the place. that every single moment they were threatened that he would collapse over them. Ruqayya bint Hussain, she fell asleep for a while. She had a dream about her father. She woke up all of a sudden. She was talking and asking about her father, probably asking her auntie Zainab, where is my father? You know, when the little, baby, the little child asks for father, they can't say anything. Probably would say their father is traveling. Oh, I want my father, and it's so difficult to calm down Ruqayya. Oh, that's Mal'un Yazid. He heard the voice of Ruqayya crying. What is this? What is this noise? Ah, they brought the head of Hussain, her father. When they brought it, it was covered by a fabric. She looked, just imagine 3-year-old daughter and girl. She looked at Auntie Zainab, I don't want food. Why they brought food? I want my father. As soon as she uncovered, she saw the head of Hussain. He said that she hugged the head of father. She started talking to Hussain. Oh father, you were not in the way. They started hitting us. Whenever they wanted to hit me, my aunt Zainab, she blocked it and she got it. Oh, Ruqayya is talking to her father. When a little daughter starts talking to father, explain everything what happened to her. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden, they saw that Ruqayya is not talking anymore. Alhamdulillah, she fell asleep. Oh no, they called Ruqayya, she's not answering. Oh, Ruqayya passed away. Oh, Ruqayya couldn't tolerate this musibah. Oh, now Ruqayya is with her father Hussain. Let me finish the musibah with this. Zainab is over there. Zainab is the most important one. She was in charge of children of Hussain. I think one thing came to the mind of Zainab. Now how can I go back to Karbala and tell Hussain that I left his daughter? Now with this condition and this situation, raise your voice and let's say salam. As-salamu ala al-Hussain. Wherever you're sitting, raise your voice. Wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain. Wa ala awladih. Wa ala one more time. As-salamu وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Inshallah, few dua and loud Ameen. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والناس ومد في عمره الشريف وزين الأرض بطول بقائه واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته يا رحمن يا رحيم ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, بحق الحسين hastening the dhuhr of his son Imam Mahdi. Ya Allah, give us tawfiq to be among the true followers of our Imam. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, anyone from this ummah, especially the followers of Ahlul Bayt, specifically my dear brothers, respected brothers and sisters in this majlis, being the zenith of the majlis of Hussain, Ya Allah, whatever hajat, khair hajat they have and request, give them all khair hajat. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, whoever has difficulties, problems, issues, people of Yemen, the Shia of Hussain in Yemen, Ya Allah, provide opportunities for their freedom. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, help our youth, make them successful in dunya wal akhirah. Ya Allah, those brothers and sisters who are sick, heal them. Those who passed away, send the tabab and the road out of this majlis to the soul, inshaAllah. Let's get ready for the matam. Ya Hussain, Ya